Good morning, everyone. This is the Economic Development Advisory Board meeting, special meeting for Wednesday, December 14th. Good morning, everybody. We will have a roll call, please.
Thomas Blond.
Here.
Tim Davis. Carl Lentz.
Here.
Carol Killian.
Here.
Mark McDermott.
Here.
Ruth Traeger.
Here.
Bishop Derek Triplett. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Do I hear an approval for the minutes from November 16th?
The move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Let's move right into our reports. Phil?
I'm going to keep it very short so we can move on to the primary order of business. But yesterday I just mentioned that it's sponsored by the News Journal.
Excuse me, Phil, would you talk right into your...
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Here we go. I always push it away because I'm going to swallow it. The Buy Local Volusia Expo was yesterday, sponsored by the News Journal at the Speedway. There's an initiative that got started in 2009, and it's a Buy Local, and the chambers have picked up, 7 chambers, the Chamber Alliance, and then the News Journal. And the idea is keep our dollars here. And it was quite successful considering the time of the year. And we're very pleased about that. Other than that, the primary order of business is yet to come. I'm done.
Well, that was...
I said it would be quick.
That's quick for you.
For me?
For you. Good morning, Carrie.
Good
Are
morning.
you ready for just a
quick
report?
update.
We missed you last time. How was that trip?
Oh, it was an excellent trip. Yeah, I should give an update. I was at FabTech in Chicago, and so fingers crossed I'll continue to have some great updates there. But what I wanted to just share is Team Volusia has selected its targeted industries, which we always knew would fall in certain categories anyways. We did a lot of research looking at previous studies, but we've ended with advanced manufacturing, professional and business services, and then we're going to also take a look at emerging technology. So I'll keep it brief as well, unless anyone has questions.
No, go ahead.
Oh,
Are you done?
I'm done, yes.
Oh, you're done. All right. Well, very good. Thank
So
you.
did you have tired feet after the Mercantile Center up there? Pretty
Yes,
big.
the
It's like a
McCormick
million
place,
square feet,
yeah.
isn't it?
I was talking with
McCormick
somebody.
place, yeah.
It would be great if they got golf carts and just went on a track, because everybody wants to go to all the booths, right?
Ride
You
the
just sit
Segway
in like a
things.
ride at Disney, and
Ride
you
the
just go
Segway
and
thing
it
we went
stops,
to,
and
yeah.
you get a chance to chat.
Yeah.
So.
Larry, would you like to report on the vision?
Yeah, just real shortly, we're going to be actually meeting this afternoon at 3 o'clock with officials at Halifax Hospital concerning our initiative, one initiative that we've really been pushing to try to provide affordable health care for the uninsured, the working uninsured. And this seems to be an emphasis that's really pushing forward very well. One of our members, Francine Barnes, did a white paper on it, which was very, very convincing. She used a lot of the information from the latest census, and I think it was 22% of the people that work in the Daytona Beach area are uninsured, and there's only a couple outlets for them to go, except for the emergency room. So hence trying to talk to Halifax seemed to be the next logical step, since the emergency room is probably the most expensive platform for healthcare available. And if we can lower that cost, it can help us with keep our tax dollars in check. And so we're pushing that initiative. We have another one that's kind of growing. I'm hopefully to meet with some people in Arizona next month about an initiative to help retirees assist in elementary, junior high, and high schools in the Daytona Beach area. It's a very successful project, Tucson, Arizona, when they had to cut back on all their teacher assistants and aides and a lot of teachers in combined classes and such, that a retired couple from a subdivision my best friend lives in, basically retired engineers, lawyers, college professors, whatever they were in their working life, now have a very organized effort in helping in the schools. And they're not only helping, they brought the Tucson area schools were an F, most of them, and they brought them up to B's and C's almost after a couple of years. So it's a very organized effort, and it's all teacher driven to help the teacher in it, to do their work. And so we're going to try to look at that and see if that's our next effort. It's purely we need another effort because we only have one right now, and that's starting to mature. So we need another effort. So things are going well, and we picked up Dan Bowling-Jack as our new as the new board director, and he's in fact he apologized. I saw him Carol at lunch the other day, and he comes up and says, "I forgot." So we're gonna have to put an alarm clock on his day timer.
Yeah, because I personally dropped off all that information, and nothing happened. So
I know he just.
Yeah. One other little note on back to the healthcare. The Vision Foundation is going to sponsor a healthcare summit on February the 12th. We're putting that together. We have 4. It's going to be a roundtable type discussion. We have 4 very high-powered individuals who are going to be coming to that. We'll give you a lot more information on that, but that'll be February 12th. We're trying to find a venue right now for that to talk about this and other issues in the healthcare industry. So, moving right along, let's go into our exemption of the ad valorem tax incentive application for the Advanced Transit Manufacturing.
Yes, good morning. You have before you the application for Fortitude Transit, Inc., doing business as Advanced Transit Manufacturing. I'm just going to go through the application and do some highlights. Of course, the board can ask questions regarding anything on the application. Description of the business activity is it's a manufacturer of high-quality electromechanical assemblies and wire harnessing, serving the rail, transit, defense, and the video game industry. Page 2. They are presently located in New York State, but wish to expand in Florida. Some other issues of taxes and what have you. Florida is viewed by the company as more business friendly. They're looking to expand to a 25 to 30,000 square foot building. They currently have 32 employees and would be looking to increase that number once they locate here to around 45 or 50 toward the end of the period of exemption. It's located within a brownfield area. Margaret Walsh is the president of and primary owner of the company, and she has a little. She served as vice president of the company and some other duties. They plan to locate at 1871 Mason Avenue. There's a folder circulating among the board which has some depictions of the building. If we go down to E on page 2, there's some competitive incentives being offered by the state of New York to keep that company there. So we're putting together a package to help. The F, the supporting financial information. The CEO Business Alliance, and I do have Kent Sharples here, has received information regarding it. I think the county has some information regarding it. The company does not wish to make that public at this point, but the reason we ask that question is to know whether the company has the capacity to proceed financially with their plans, and I'm assured that they are. Moving on to page 3, the average annual wage would be $36,260, which is 115% of the annual area median income. Item number 3, starting full-time jobs. It says 45 there, but it should be a 0. 45 new to Florida jobs. They're starting at 0, and they're going to hire the persons once they get here. You can see what's in 5. They hope to get to 50 employees by the period of by 2018, the end of the exemption period. If we add up the number of employees times the average salary of $36,260, you see what that is in item number 7 and what that total would be. Percentage hiring goal for Daytona Beach residents, we've discussed this. It's blank there, but should be at 50%.
50?
50. 50, yes. Mhm. And everything proceeds. The estimated amount of annual investment over this time period is something like $2,165,000, or according to this chart that was submitted. Moving on to page 4. The president of the company has signed this application. I do have an original signed page. I didn't have it when I was making this copy. So those are the highlights. I do have a representative of the company to speak, Mr. Kent Sharples.
Mr. Sharples, would you like to add anything?
Gosh, but Amber's done a wonderful job, and details.
No, you have to come to the mic.
I'll always
Talk a little bit about this.
in the final documentation. I've got a couple of sheets here I gave Emery this morning. Do they have copies of that?
Yes.
Okay, so you see a little bit about the company. There's no sense in really going through all of that again unless you have specific questions. I can only tell you this, that I called this gentleman and his wife, Margaret, last year, a little bit, well, this year, but in April, about the 20th of April, just as he was filling out his New York State income tax and his corporate tax, and he said, you know what? Given all of that, yes, I'd like to come down and take a look. And he's been down here 3 or 4 times. As Emery pointed out, the state of New York is really hungry to keep these guys there as well as recruit new industry. And they've got a congressman sitting up there with a blank checkbook willing to match us buck for buck every time we get an incentive here. So it's really kind of crazy what's going on out there. The governor's also put $1 billion into 10 districts in the state of New York to encourage people to stay and also recruit new industry. However, as I pointed out to Margaret and Barry, those are tax dollars that got to be paid back by somebody, in most cases him and other manufacturers. So I think we're doing really well with the governor's position. He did an interview with the editorial board here, and I sent Barry a copy of that interview. The interview was pretty liberal questions being answered by a pretty conservative governor with a no tax base increase, and that sold very well with Barry. So I think given approval here and at the county council tomorrow, Phil's going to present this to the county council at 3 tomorrow afternoon. We move on up through the state. We have a very, very good probability of the Walshes moving their 50 employees here. They would come here with the 2 of them, probably 2 key employees, a salesman and an engineer. The rest of the people who would be hired would be assemblers. These are really high-end products they make for primarily the coach industry. When I say coaches, I'm talking about high-speed rail, airplanes, and anything that requires ISO certified quality harnesses and electromechanical devices. So it's a real high-end company. He would be here today. He sends his apologies, and Margaret does as well, except for the fact that he's quoting 5 new jobs right now and negotiating with a company in Germany. And if he lands that contract, that's coming directly to Daytona Beach rather than going to New York first and moving down here. I'd be happy to answer any questions, Emery or anyone else, but
Question, Larry?
No, so it'd be 46 new jobs in there for the 4 existing jobs, right? So it'd be 46 new.
yeah, I think he's looking, Larry, at 45 new employees, not including them, but the management team. They've had some experience living in Florida before, which helped us. Her parents actually were in Jacksonville for quite a while. In fact, that's where they met at the University of Florida. So we got a little bit of a head start there. But so they're not going to bring down a number of these assemblers. They would be all hires locally here. In fact, Emery and I talked about this yesterday. We put 50% down. My guess it's probably more like 80 or 90% locally, meaning, anywhere someone with a good application. It may be Ormond Beach as opposed to Daytona, but 50% would probably be realistic as far as the city of Daytona Beach is concerned.
Do they own their present building?
Yes, they do.
Okay, so
Yep.
they're gonna have to sell that on
He
the
would
move, or they
put
will-
that on the market. The state of New York, as Embry pointed out, did offer to build him a build-to-suit building at 100 basis points over cost. I told him we could match that here. I've talked to people out of Consolidated, and that's you can build a building here for $20 a foot less than you can in New York anyway. So we were able to match him almost initiative for initiative from the state. But he would sell that building. This building is either available on a lease or a purchase basis. Bud Severino owns the building. I think most of you know Bud. And we've been in conversation with Barry and Bud about which would be preferable. It could be a lease first with a purchase to follow shortly thereafter, but probably more like a purchase initially. So, but buildings are getting to be in short supply, as Phil and Carrie and Helen, Rob can tell you. I mean, these buildings are being snapped up. The 2 radon buildings are gone now, and my biggest problem is finding a place to put these folks once we get them down here. I got one coming in this afternoon, another one coming on Friday, and another one in January, and 2 for the race in February. So it's trying to find them a place to live once they get here. Yes, ma'am.
Is there any specialized education that we could prepare our workers for now?
Well, in this particular industry, these are assemblers. These products move through an assembly line on a caster-based frame, moving one step down the line to the final point where they're then shipped out to mostly mass transit companies. So the assembly is specific to that industry, and the training would have to probably be on-the-job training or specific to, but it's a mechanical process, but specific to that industry. So training ahead of them being here would probably be very difficult. It's so specific. But it's the kind of thing, like the wiring that they use has to be certified in case this coach catches on fire. It's not a toxic kind of wire or insulation. So it's really some pretty sophisticated things that they deal with and the products that they use to put these together.
Any other questions, comments? Phil?
I just wanted to say this is one of the things that we've talked about in terms of a true partnership in bringing businesses here to Volusia County and to Daytona Beach. This is a lead that was developed by Kent, the CEO of Business Alliance, Helen and Carrie, and Rob Earhart from my office, if you haven't met Rob, provided support in terms of working with that. Enterprise Florida jumped in. The governor actually made a call to Mr. Walsh in terms of encouraging him to come here. So many of the deals that we see, some of them, the fish jump in the boat by themselves. This one took a whole gang to handle the net and get everybody here. But so far, it's been very successful, and it's been just a great opportunity to all work together.
Right. If this all goes through, what's your timing, do you think?
To move him here, it will be a fairly short turnaround. He has these other pending contracts, and I think by probably mid-July, he would make his initial move. So that's what we're thinking of right now in terms of where he is. But it is true, Phil Sane's absolutely right. The first view we had of this building was a video shot by Team Volusia. Came in and you could see the entire building, and so that started that part. And then Phil and Rob have worked through the incentives with Enterprise Florida, and Rob's been in contact with him. My job is a salesman, and it's not me. I mean, I sold education for a long time. I'm selling Volusia County now. But once I get him here, I got to have somebody to back that up. It's just me. And so Helen and Carrie and Phil and Rob and their team put all of the pieces, parts together, because that's finally, where you make the deal. And you can bring a lot of people down here that like to see Daytona Beach, particularly around the race. But until you can find them a good place to stay or live or build their building, then you really haven't gained much at all. So getting them here, and it isn't me. I mean, when I start mentioning names like Jim France and Lisa Kennedy, and so there's some stories I could tell you at some point that are kind of fascinating about people. Guy coming on Friday, he's got a little pedal car for little kids. and it's a NASCAR thing. So we're going to show that to Lisa at 11:30 on Friday. So that gets them into town. But once they're here, you got to have guys like Emery and the team around me here to close the deal. And all I do is just try to get them here and entertain them a little bit. I kind of enjoy that, to be honest with you.
It's such a cooperative effort, finally.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, and like Phil said, the governor called him twice. He got him once on the phone, and I don't know whether he ever made that second call or not, but I put in a request to have the governor call through Phil and Enterprise Florida. Next thing I know, the governor makes a call. This guy's great when it comes to economic development. I mean, he is on the spot with them. That's the second prospect he's called
Really?
just on that basis for us here in Volusia County. So, but you mix him together with the team we've got in place, along with names like Hyatt Brown, Jim France, and NASCAR and ISC, and it gets them here anyway. I'm getting a nod over here. I need to sit down and shut up.
That's good.
No, I was just nodding and saying you did a good job.
Do you have any other thing?
I was just going to mention that one of the initial visits of this company to Daytona Beach, I met with Kent and Rob and others over at the CEO of Business Alliance's offices, and we talked about what we're doing here today.
So do I hear a motion to?
Emery, can you go over the schedule with us and just, we don't even know what they're asking for. We haven't gone over that at all.
If you look on page 3, at item number 10, this is the basis for that schedule. It is whatever the company puts in this block that the property appraiser reads and uses it to make his calculation. In this case, it looks a little bit different because Morgan Gilreath actually did this one. Janice Cornelius, who normally does this, is out of the office, and so we prevailed upon Morgan because we had the impetus from the board to have this. So it looks a little bit different, but
Right.
it is going along the same schedule that we had before, 100% for the first 2 years, 75 for the next 2 years. I believe it's on the application. 100% for the year on page 4, bottom of the application, number 16. 100% for years 1 and 2, 75% for years 3 and 4, 5 and 6 at 50%, and year 7 at 25%. They take that schedule and do their magic over the property appraiser's office. Now, I can't explain the property appraiser's calculations here. They come up with that.
Okay, and I guess the question is because the land and building purchase is estimated at 1.8 million.
Yes.
And then if you look at Morgan Gilreath's schedule, he's got estimated taxable value of $315,000. So
I can't.
you know,
I wish I could
it's $1.5
explain
million
it.
discrepancy between those two figures.
I wish I could explain it. Again, what I can do is contact the property appraiser's office again. I did think it was a little errant, but I just got this on yesterday afternoon. In order to get it before you today, I had to bring it where it is. Let me just mention here. This is an excellent example of what I was talking about at last meeting.
Right.
Sometimes you may have to tweak the schedule. It may not, this is our basic schedule. You may have to tweak the schedule in order for it to be meaningful for the company. So this is an excellent example of that. That's what I was talking about.
Okay, once they purchase the building, you know, whether or not it's reassessed at a different value, because I find it hard to imagine that a 33,000 square foot building on Mason is assessed at $315,000. However, once they purchase it, it will be reassessed, and then, so now instead of trying to determine what our abatement is for a building at $315,000, we're looking at, you know, 5 or 6 times that amount, which is insignificant. I mean, seemingly insignificant, but when we put it in front of ourselves and we vote on this number here, you know, who's to say that if it's 5 or 6 times this number, you know, that there aren't ramifications for us when people look back and say, well, you gave them we're calling it an $11,000 tax abatement, but in fact, it could be a $70,000 tax abatement. I don't think it matters for this board because I think everyone is going to support it. But, down the road, looking back on it, the numbers are quite different.
I agree with you. Again, Morgan Gilreath actually did this evaluation. I will have to throw it back over there. If it comes out different, $50 different, I'm going to bring it back to this board and let you guys know.
Okay, that's fair enough, yeah.
Madam Chairman, I propose that we support this, even if it is a higher amount, which it probably will be. I believe, so I make a motion to, for us to support and to recommend to the city commission, to approve the exemption for ad valorem tax to Fortitude Transit Inc.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
All of you with your teamwork and everything.
Before we move on, though, I mean, Carl brings up a great point, and what's significant about his point is what the company would be receiving. It's going to be a lot more money than this $10,000 over, if we get the reassessment. And so it is, that's something that is rather perplexing, why that building is valued so low. I mean, wouldn't they look at this and say, well, it's a $10,000 concession, but that's not really what it's going to amount to.
I'd buy it today for $375,000.
Yeah. Right.
Today I'd buy it. But
Ruth would buy it twice.
If Eric could buy it for $375,000, he wouldn't even worry about any tax abatement because he'd be getting such a bargain on that building. That would be, what, $10 a square foot?
Right.
$10 a foot, $330,000 would be $10 a square foot during all. So I don't know what Morgan was doing when he did that. That's the first time I heard that number.
Yes, late yesterday afternoon I got this, and we'll revisit it.
Definitely.
I'll
This
put
board
in
will.
$375 because I guarantee it'll be sold tomorrow if it is.
Understood.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to our, the economic development report
Program.
that,
I'd like, Carol actually did this, poster flyer. It's excellent, and, Carol, would you like to talk about it? Because you actually did the,
well, I mean, what our purpose behind this is to be sure and get some, exposure for the meeting. We really want to have a lot of folks come, and Emory has done a large poster that we can put out at the different places in our meetings, and you also have it electronically, so send it to folks that you all know if you would, because we'd really like to have a lot of public as well as business people come to this.
Is that a picture of the new Joe's Crab Shack?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I stole the drawing, so. It was the original drawing, that's why I kind of made it a little bit small, so I hope that. No, it's true. It is. That's what it is. The rest of it is pretty generic. So anyway, we have some flyers for y'all if you want to
Yes.
take them to some of your other meetings. Please pass it out. I think that the key right now is to get information out so that we can have a really good turnout for this. So,
I agree with you. I mean, we need to send this to as many people as possible. This will be the third year that we've done this, and the attendance was, has been fairly limited. I think there were more the first year than the second year, if I'm not mistaken. But, this is a great flyer, and we need to just get it out to, whether it's community groups or whoever needs to see it. But, we're providing some value here for the citizens of the area, and I think that we definitely need to work as hard as possible to get it out there. I will say that, you know, we're doing this as a service to the community. Last year, it became a little bit contentious, and I would try to steer away from those
Definitely.
discussions and
I'm not
arguments.
going there again.
And it has nothing to do with anyone sitting on this panel, but there are going to be people, just like there are everywhere, that are going to try to get people's attention and try to create a little bit of controversy. So, you know, if we can avoid that, that would be wonderful.
Right, and I hope so. The idea is, we didn't put the timeframes on here, but after talking, you know, with Phil last time and a few other people, the reports themselves, with the exception of the market study report, will only be about, you know, 10 minutes apiece. And then my whole thought is to steer it into the Q&A, and then try to keep it as open and informational as we can.
We can lend you the clock from the county council to live in
Yeah, that's a
3
good
minutes.
idea. Hey, you have 3
minutes.
3 minutes.
Well,
and that's
it became more of a debate last time.
Yes.
Well,
And I think that-
that was part of the vision problem, you know.
Mhm.
We tried to give an overview of the vision, and then that opened up an awful lot of other questions. The vision isn't on here this time. So, anyway, no, I appreciate that, Carl. I think you're absolutely right. So any way that we can get this out to other boards, other, you know, meetings, Susan Saran is going to post it online as well. And you have a question?
Do we have a list of some business affiliations, organizations, like Volusia Manufacturers Organization, that we could kind of send to?
That's a good idea.
I can contact the chamber. You've got that, Phil?
I'll be happy to send it to the DNA.
Great.
Okay, great.
And other business organizations, you know?
Any other organizations you feel like that we would really like to have come and participate? Because we want this to be a...
Occupy
Yes. That'd be terrific.
Phil, what about your mailing list that you use for your quarterly Volusia County update?
Well, we won't do it mail, we'll do it electronically, we can do that, and I'll put it in on the economic scene at least once.
And do you have the newsletter or
That goes
something
out to
that you go?
over
Yeah,
2,000 people a week, so.
yeah, because you could attach that to it fairly easily.
And would the News Journal compass anything? Since they're
We're
giving a
working.
report?
We're working through. I've called Clayton Park and left messages for him and Bob Koslow. The other person we're working with is Sarah Bates. Now, we used to be
Right.
Berube. We're hoping that she would intercede with them. I have talked with Susan Sabone. She's going to market it in every way possible, she says. So you should start to see something out there. I did bring it to the attention of Commissioner Gilliland. He's going to mention it at commission meetings. And I want to say every meeting I've been in since it was approved through the manager's office, I've mentioned it. So the word is starting to get out there slowly.
Very good, thank you. Any other questions or comments about this? We will not have another meeting before this.
Yeah.
So if there's anything that's needed prior to that, we'll just do emails and electronically, and I hope all of you definitely will be there.
There was one little item with regard to that. There was a
Okay.
suggestion by Mr. McDermott, I believe, at the last meeting, that we should have some sort of food.
Yes, right.
And I'm, you know, I'm looking at maybe water, maybe some sodas, and just maybe, I don't know, cold cuts. What do you think is appropriate? I guess that's where I'm coming from.
Well, I think it depends on who we can talk to and what they were willing to bring in. I'm going to talk to a couple of our vendors today at noon.
Okay.
There's going to be a meeting. So if we can get some of the city vendors to kind of step up and do
Okay.
just finger food or something.
Finger foods, so small
Yeah,
sandwiches,
right.
some drinks,
Right.
and maybe cookies as a dessert item.
Yeah,
Okay.
just kind of keep it small, but something that's attractive enough to kind of keep people hanging around.
Does our
Gotcha.
college have culinary departments that might be willing to help out?
I hadn't thought of that.
That's a thought. Yeah, we'll give them a call. I was thinking more along the lines of city vendors who are already into some
That's a
of
good
this
idea.
stuff, you know. Yeah.
Give them some
Right.
exposure.
Right. Anything else on this? Any ideas or anything that we need to do before this? Everybody make sure you show up, please.
I was going to make a mention, that happens to be the same night as the MLK banquet. So
Oh,
we're,
really?
yes, and we're going to have some commissioners probably show up there and maybe leave to go to that at some time during the program. And there was something else going on that night, but I cannot recall what it is.
Okay. Let's go on to our old business, the amendment to the Economic Advisory Board membership requirements.
I'm sorry,
What is that?
I do have that here. I meant to pass that up too. We talked about this way some time ago. If you recall, there was a discussion about replacing the Chamber BDP with Team Volusia on the board as an ex officio member. And things got in the way and what have you. If you look at what I've provided for you, we were ready to go with this. I pulled it back off the agenda because we're adding the underlined language and proposed. And these 7 members will also serve as the Brownfield Advisory Committee. That's a duty that this board enjoys and should be stated someplace. So that is the only addition from the previous. Okay.
And this is primarily for the city
City description
listing and description of the board
That's correct.
requirements and stuff, and so.
We're also doing a similar thing for the Community Development Advisory Board.
Okay.
They also serve as the Community Advisory Task Force for the NSP funding program. So,
Well, this looks fine to me. Anybody else have any comments? I remember the Economic Development Strategic Planning Committee has been on there from day one, and that's definitely should come off.
yeah, we took out the old antiquated
the old-
language and
the old
just
language.
spruced it up.
So I'm fine with this. Do we need to vote on this, or are you just,
Yeah,
well,
you-
is
no,
everybody
I'll vote.
okay with this?
Motion to approve.
Mr. Bond?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, Emery.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that works fine. New business, the Center for International Business Education presentation.
Yes, they're supposed to be, they've been given instruction that they're supposed to be here around 9 o'clock.
Around 9 o'clock,
So
okay.
we really tore through the the agenda. So I do expect them about 9.
Now, were there 2 of them at 9 o'clock, or are these?
There are
This-
2, as I
Okay.
understand it. DSC is going to be here, Daytona State College, and I believe Embry-Riddle is going to be here. The 2 companies that received this, well, Teltron and Miller Lehman, representatives from both of those companies are expected to be here. Chris Schuster, who I think is president of Miller Lehman. I get them mixed up because it's Chris Schuster and his brother. I forget his
Mark.
name. Mark? Okay, I don't know who is president, vice president, co-vice, I don't know who that is.
Phil Lehman is spelled Lehman.
Okay. The other person that's supposed to be here is Brian Dawson, who's we believe he's president or chair representative of Teltron. So we expect him about.
Well, we can move this on to the next thing. And do we have, see, we do have a citizen out here. Do we have citizens' comments?
I'm actually here for the CIBE presentation.
So you don't want to talk to us right now? I mean, that's okay if you don't want to.
No, actually, the students are going to make great presentations. You really will be glad that you made it around.
Okay, thank you. Our next scheduled meeting is you know, obviously the January 12th Economic Development Report meeting, but then our regular scheduled meeting is February 15th.
Yes.
We'll go back to the third Wednesday of the month. Is that right?
That's correct.
And then you have the rest of the schedule. That looks fine.
Okay.
Yeah, looks fine for now.
If I may, maybe I'll do one thing. I'll wish all of the members of the board happy holidays. We won't be seeing each other for a while, and you know, it's been a great year. Where we were 3 years ago, a year and a half, 3 years ago, is I can see our growth from there to now. We did not have a signature event. We were different, and I just want you to give yourselves a hand for the work that you've done through this time. I mean, it's remarkable.
Well,
Thank you.
on top of that, I want to thank you, Emery. I mean, seriously, I know this is the time to do all of these things, but I really appreciate all of your efforts because you have certainly grown the department under some hard times.
Oh,
And you have a new office, and you got moved from downstairs to upstairs. I think that's nice.
Got moved from downstairs to upstairs. There are continuing challenges, financial challenges. We have a very limited budget, and with the limited budget that we have, I think we're doing it's magical, and it's due to partners like the County of Volusia, Team
Right.
Volusia, CEO Business Alliance. Yeah, it's starting to come together and get legs, and you know, I'm just very excited about the prospect for Daytona Beach in coming years. Okay.
Where are we on our board appointments? Are some of these renewable now, or where are we on that?
I think we're good. I haven't received, normally I receive a notice from Betty Goodman saying, you know, somebody needs to re-up their application. I've got no notices lately, so we're good. This is one thing we need to take care of. I need to pass out
Okay.
flyers
Okay.
to you guys. I'm going to take some off the top.
Are these going out in anywhere like the chamber email blast or something like that? You know,
Okay.
the
That's,
BMA and chamber and
We-
what's up different?
we talked about that. We'll be sending that out electronically. Phil's going to take care of a number of things like that. I have some contacts I'll be sending them out to. If they get them twice or 3 times, it's okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so don't worry about stepping on other people's toes. I'm going to take 4 of the posters,
Okay.
okay, and I've got my handouts. Whatever's left, of course, I'll take 2. So I'm going to pass the posters around and the flyers. They're a little smaller than I thought they were going to be, but it's like a handbill, which is kind
No, I
of
think that's
different.
fine.
Kind
Really
of
is.
different. So I'm going to pass these around, and you guys
Okay.
take what you need.
Is this information that should be disseminated to the neighborhood associations
Yes.
and everything too?
Yeah, whatever meetings that you end up going to, or you talk to some people, give them to these so they can hand them out.
Yes.
You know, I'll take, and of course, you'll put these posters up all over the building.
Yes,
I
I'm
hope.
using the city clerk's office to do that. They tell us where we can post stuff.
Okay.
Does this go back to,
They're actually waiting outside for
Oh, well, come on in, thank you,
do
good.
these pictures go back to?
I guess so, I'm not sure where this came from. Here, we'll take some flyers.
Whatever's left, just leave it on the left-hand side over by Phil, and I'll get the rest.
Good morning, everybody. We've been sitting here trying to waste a little bit of time because we didn't know you were here. Emily, you want to make an introduction?
I will make an introduction. We have representatives from Daytona State College and Embry-Riddle. Okay. And you have a description on the agenda under item number 8 regarding the Center for International Business Education. I'm going to ask someone to come up and tell us a little bit about the organization and the projects that you've completed.
We're gonna make a joint effort here, okay?
Okay.
Only because, good morning to everyone.
Why don't you introduce yourselves, because we are on TV
Yes,
here.
all right. Gwen Asma Edwards, and I'm the current president, chair of the Center for Business Excellence, Center for International Business Education. And there's a project which you have a basic summary of that this organization has been working on with the universities who are also members of the organization over the past couple of years with the Chamber of Commerce. Sam Goodwin, which I'm sure many of you know, was kind of an instigator in part of this over the years in trying to get the Chamber in working with local businesses to get those businesses more interested in international trade. And as a result of that, with our organization, which is really has a major focus of getting businesses more involved in international trade as well, it was a perfect marriage. So as a result of that, we've been working, trying to get the universities working with directly the businesses in the area. We had businesses that volunteered to be a part of this pilot project, and I'm going to turn it over to John Brady, who is with the Daytona State College, actually replacing Don Matthews. Don, wave. Don had a temporary shift in terms of his job description, but he's also continuing to be a part of this organization and this board. But we had phenomenal, and I have to say phenomenal work by these students of the two colleges or universities that you're going to hear from, and the employers that they were able to help in introducing them to the importance of being involved on an international basis in promoting their products and services. So, John, if you would take over from here, but we want to thank you also for the opportunity of allowing these students to come forward and share what they were able to do in working with these businesses. Our universities have just such a great bank of knowledge, and they want to take that and they want to use it really in the community with the businesses, and this is just an example of what they can do, and we're just so proud of them and proud of the students that have come here, because you know that the students now are out of school. So it was kind of hard to get representatives to come here and be here, so this speaks well of them as well. So John, if you take over from here, and thank you again for the opportunity.
And once again, my name is John Brady. I'm with the Office of Global Ed and Affairs at Daytona State College. And I'll keep it kind of brief because I think Ms. Edwards has summed up the project pretty well. One of my roles at the college is serving as the director of the CIBE, the Center for International Business and Education. It serves as an advisory board for my department. One of the initiatives, as Ms. Edwards brought forward this morning, one of our initiatives this year was to create this pilot project. And this came out of the chamber. And in a nutshell, both of our schools, Embry-Riddle and Daytona State, had selected a business professor to teach a course where the students were charged with developing an export plan for a local business. Two businesses were selected. That was Lehman Miller down here on Orange Avenue and Teltron. So Embry-Riddle worked with Teltron and Daytona State worked with Lehman Miller. And so each class had a cohort of students that actually, did an assessment on the business and developed an export plan. And so we have representatives from both schools here, including their professors, and I'm going to allow them to step up in front of you and just talk about the process a little bit. Hopefully next fall we'll expand this to include all 4 institutions of higher education within the area, including Stetson, and Bethune, and possibly UCF as well. All right?
Great, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Kenyon?
Daytona State, will you please introduce each of yourselves?
Good morning. My name is Lee Kenyon, assistant professor at the college.
I'm Christine Cannon. I'm a senior graduating December 16th from Daytona State.
And I'm Terrence Davis, graduating senior from Daytona State.
Welcome.
Thank you. We do appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. And I'm going to talk just very briefly about this excellent team that we've put together, and then I'm going to hand it over to them because they are the ones who did all the work. We started with Miller Lehman at the end of August, and we had our first team of students. Our programs run 8 weeks, so the first team started 5 students, and they developed the preliminary work, and then a second team picked up the task, the chalice, as it were, and we have 2 students today that represent that group of 6 students who finished up, and they've presented their export plan, and they're going to share with you what they learned in the process, but I think for the company as well, they really identified some opportunities for the export market, and I hope that they pursue it, and that might lead to increased jobs in the area. And that's what I think the overall opportunities are here, is these collaborative efforts to strengthen our businesses and as a community support each other. And I'm going to hand it off to the students at this time.
We were given the charge of taking a 50-page paper that Fall A started and reading over the information that they had given and taking that and actually bringing it to an export plan. They had kind of identified some preliminary markets, some preliminary ideas, and it was our job as a team to basically act as a consultant for this company. So we went and interviewed Mr. Schuster as a group and found out what their objectives were as a company. And then from there, we basically had to take the process of identifying what niche markets would fit their product. We had 4 different markets, international markets for them, and through a tremendous amount of statistical research and data, international phone calls, Skyping the UAE, spending a lot of time on the phone with Germany and Italy, Canada, and the United Arab Emirates, we identified 4 definitive markets for their product. They wanted to find specific niches in specific areas, and their product is a customized product. So we had to really read and go in depth into what they were trying to accomplish, but expand on that. We couldn't just listen to what they wanted. We had to really develop what was maybe necessary. And so in our research, we determined that the market in the United States, the domestic market, was shrinking. And because the domestic market is shrinking and they're primarily a domestic vendor at this point, they don't export this particular product overseas, we made a very strong case for why it was very important for them to export. The market that they're in is an expanding and a growing market. They certainly are not a first mover in this particular industry, but there's certainly a tremendous amount of room for growth for this particular company in this particular niche area. One of the things that the project really taught me, I was in charge of contacting the UAE and dealing with trade shows, is that 9 o'clock over there is midnight here. So putting in a lot of hours at midnight and talking to people in the UAE was a tremendous, exciting experience. But I also learned a very quick lesson that the way we do business here is not the way that other people do business in other nations. And it was a very quick lesson in dealing with the UAE, but also a very needed and notable lesson. And that was that we cannot take our Americanized ways and just transport them into other nations when we're dealing with export plans and with other companies. So that was some information that we passed on to Miller Lehman, how to gain market entry in these particular countries and how to get their product and their name and their brand out without having to go the route that we went. We gave them some very viable information with reference to trade shows and contact information both stateside and internationally. And they were they'll be able to take that information and use it to go forward.
Well, I don't know what more to say after what Christine said. But seriously, we were charged with, as she stated, creating the export plan. It was very challenging because we had a short amount of time to complete this process, which normally takes some organizations several years to complete, or sometimes several months. One of the best things I can say that we pulled from this project is the fact that we were able to collaborate as a team and working in a team environment, and to be a graduating senior and to be able to have the opportunity to work on a live project for a company that could possibly utilize this in the future, as Mr. Kenyon stated, to either increase, to provide jobs here, provide jobs here locally, and also export this product abroad. It was a phenomenal opportunity for us. So we definitely jumped on it when we heard the opportunity. The communication aspect of this project was one of the greatest things I can say we developed from it. Like I said, 8 weeks to complete, a task of in-depth research. And when we heard about the project, entering into this market was something that I think none of us had any idea of. We had little knowledge of export. Some of us had a very diverse background in relations to the different markets that we work in, as well as in our personal lives. So it was a complete learning curve and learning experience from us from day one. And I think one of the most difficult tasks was educating ourselves on understanding how to create a solid export plan, and also understanding exactly what our client, being Miller Lehman, wanted in his export plan, and understanding their business and their niche product for this particular plan. And that was the most difficult part of it, because there was a lot of reading, a ton of reading and a ton of research that went involved in that, in regards to, as Christine stated, making the contacts abroad. This wasn't a project that we could just, as I like to say, do a search engine paper, or we could just Google it and get the information off the internet and then say, here, this is the export plan. But we had to make those contacts. We had to send those emails out. And as she stated, there was a lot of late nights. We collaborated in a non-business environment. Speaking, we would contact each other at 2 o'clock in the morning. Hey, are you still up? Sorry to contact you so late. But the reason being, these countries that we sought out to provide as the export plan, these countries' time, there's 9-hour time difference, 6-hour time differences. So we're staying up till 1 o'clock in the morning, because 1 o'clock in the morning our time is their normal business hours. So we're staying up to make sure that we can make those contacts and make sure that the contacts were effective. She stated sending out emails, we found out, wasn't the most strategic way to do the business, because sometimes you can send an email, it may take days, it may take weeks, and we found out through our research that emails just wasn't effective. There's no responses, so we had to make those phone calls. So we set up Skype accounts to make those contacts, or international phone calls made, be it from our phone or from different avenues. But we wanted to make sure that when we presented this export plan, both to our professor and to that of Miller Lehman, that it was definitely going to be a sound and strategic plan that they definitely can utilize in the future.
Very good. Thank you, folks.
Any other questions?
Yes, questions? I believe we have representatives.
Mr. Schuster.
Marty's over there.
Marty's over there.
Did you all encounter any language barriers, especially dealing with the UAE?
Actually, no. One of the first questions that we ask when we Skype is, do you speak English? and the majority of the answers were yes, we speak English. The interesting part about dealing with the UAE was that once you establish that you wanted to do business with them, and once you establish that, we basically had to take it from a perspective of, we have a client who's interested in bringing their product to you. What is the best method for you to receive that information? And sometimes they would request the PDF that Mr. Schuster had given us ability to share. Other times it was through the trade shows avenues, and that was really where we got a tremendous response, because trade shows obviously want you to come, but they also want your money. So they were very willing to send forth the exhibitor list. And that was sort of my line was, we have a client who's interested in attending your trade show. We need to see an exhibitor's list to see if it's a good fit. If it's a good fit, we'll forward the information. How can we get a hold of you? And it was amazing. I got 8 PDFs from the lady in the UAE in about 10 minutes. So, it was once you let them know that you have an interest, it was much harder to approach it from, hi, I'm a student, I need information. You just couldn't go there. You had to kind of formulate a little bit. I had one lady actually ask me from Enterprise, Florida, who do you consult for? Well, about that. I'm a student, I had to kind of break that down for her. But, we found some great opportunities. Enterprise Florida, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with, they were one of our key contacts for them. And they, actually give grants for businesses here in Florida who manufacture their own products. and they would be willing to give them a grant to go to two incredible international trade shows and pay for half of it. So there's a lot of opportunity with reference to exporting here in Florida that we were made aware of that I was not ever currently aware of prior to this project.
Cool. Mr. Schuster? Welcome.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank the students and thank the professor here for doing a great job. I'm really excited to see the plan. I found these students to be very conscientious, and we, just to give you just a brief background here, we're, as you may know, right down in Orange Avenue here in the old bakery building, 800 Orange Avenue, and we've been very successful here the last few years in opening up the marine industry for our products, but we really haven't done anything internationally, and I thought that when someone here approached me about doing this project, we thought that this would be a perfect project to kind of focus for the students, and really excited to see what the results are and continue to grow our market in the various international areas where there's a good market potential for the product. So thank you very much.
Well, we'd be interested in it once you start signing up some of these export deals. Come back and tell us.
Absolutely, we'll do that.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions, anyone? This is really exciting. Thank you very much. Emery, we have
yes.
one more.
Yes, we have the second group. I think they're on tap to one up.
Again, please introduce yourselves because you're on TV.
Good morning. My name is Tamila Curtis, and I'm Assistant Professor of Management at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University College of Business. We've been tasked to conduct export business plan for Deltron, company based in Daytona Beach, Florida. Our semester is traditional semester, and we have 40 students in my class. It's international business class. We start semester end of August till beginning of December. So 40 students is quite large class. In order to accomplish task, I decided to divide it as a large class size into 10 groups, about 4 students per group. So we have 10 business export plans, and my students will describe now how they approach a program, how they approach the project, and how they conduct secondary research.
Hi, my name is Diana Dunham. I'm staff at Embry-Riddle, but one of the benefits of working at Embry-Riddle is you get to go to school for free. So I do, and I'm pursuing my aviation business administration degree.
Good morning. My name is Olivia Crow. I'm a senior student at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. I'm a little odd in this class, however, I am an engineering major, civil engineering specifically.
So as Dr. Curtis stated, we were a group of 40, and we chose our partners. Usually your first day of class, and obviously I'm a lot older than everyone else. When I walk in class the first day, they all think I'm the professor. But I set them straight, and I always sit in the front of the classroom. And a couple of the students I already knew, so we formed a group of 4. Dr. Curtis was instrumental in explaining this project to us. From the very beginning of class, she outlined what we were going to do. I found it very exciting that rather than taking a company that was far outreaching, this was a local company. I felt that we would be helping a local company, and it just made it that much more interesting. Dr. Curtis set out for us exactly what was going to be expected of us. And one thing she also did was, while she was teaching the class, she incorporated things that we would learn in the class that would help us towards our marketing plan. And that was just really helpful for us, because I'm not an international business person. I just want to get my business degree. So I was a little, and it's a 300 class, so it's, you know, it's a higher class. And that was one thing she told us too. You know, this is a 300 class. You're going to have to do 300 work. So she introduced us to the company, and I have to say that Deltron was more than willing to help us with everything we had to do. They came in and they spoke to the class. They invited us to their facility. We had a tour of their facility. Everyone on the business was very willing to show us everything about the company. I didn't even know the company existed. I mean, I'm from upstate New York. I've only been here 7 years, but I had no idea this company. This company already does export internationally, but they wanted to see where else they could. So once we had the discussion with the company, we came back, and first Dr. Curtis asked us to list countries that we might, we had to pick 5 countries and why. Then Dr. Curtis said, okay, she gave each one of the teams a country. And then we did our project plan on the country, our country. Olivia and I weren't in the same group. My country, we picked the United K. We didn't have to do long-distance telephone communication. We did everything as a group. We Googled, we did searches, we met as a group late at night. I have to say that our marketing plan was probably this big. When Teltron has to get it, there's going to be a lot of information there. But it was a good learning experience, not only for learning about the company, but one of the things I think the students have to remember is you have to learn to work as a team. You're never going to be in a business just working for yourself. So this was an awesome project.
I completely agree with everything Diana said. It was a lot about teamwork. There were a lot of late night studies and communicating, and I was very fortunate in the team that I got paired with, 3 other individuals that were very bright and all business majors. So again, as an engineering major, I was a little bit behind the curve, but they were very patient with me and very helpful, and so was Dr. Curtis. Again, was very informative throughout the entire project and very helpful. The country my group chose was Japan, and it was very interesting. It was agreeing with Diana. We got to learn a lot about not only Teltron as a company, but we learned a lot about Japan as a country and as a culture, and how companies have to be aware of that and incorporate that in their plans to export. Again, as an engineering major, this really opened my eyes to a lot of factors that need to be in the equation when you're dealing internationally with other countries and with your business. So one organization that I'm involved with deals with going internationally and finding a basic human need to solve a problem, engineering-wise, mainly with clean water and things like that. And we were looking at it as an engineering, obviously, you solve the problem, you design a system, you design a filter, things like that. But this class really helped open my eyes in this project to the logistics behind things like that when you're working with other countries and you have to incorporate, language barriers and culture differences. Again, in this class, in our book, one of the interesting stories in the chapter was talking about the company Levi, the jean company, which I'm sure we're all familiar with, and how they adapt their product to different cultures. And so taking that, we tried to help Teltron and view, is this a product that can be successful internationally? Obviously, they already have been, but in Japan specifically, or in the other countries that we chose. So I think it was a very successful project. I'm very grateful to have been a part of it, and I think we definitely learned a lot.
Don't want to interrupt, but what's Teltron? I don't know Teltron. I don't know the other folks on the board. What is their product?
We have a representative.
Oh, good. Come ahead. Sure, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes, we always like to talk about it. Okay, hi, I'm Brian Dawson, President and CEO of Teltron, and I want to say thank you to you guys for the wonderful work you did. There's an assumption that we were doing things internationally. That's not entirely. I know our VP of Sales came and probably told you that. We did one job. And it was a client of ours in the U.S. who came and said, hey, we're going to do a project in Indonesia. Would you like to come with us? And we said, sure, and what a ride it was. But I'll tell you a little bit of the backstory. To answer your direct question, we manufacture electronic equipment that monitors seniors in their environment in assisted living communities. So everything from the help by phone, can't get up kind of product to environmental monitoring, doors, windows, screens, Alzheimer's, memory care, you name it, we manufacture for senior living. So I was in a CEO peer group of mine and was really challenged to do some international business going forward. And when you run a smaller company, you don't really have a lot of cycles to be thinking about these kinds of things when you're busy trying to run a business. And so as I'm sitting around saying to myself, how in the world are we going to get this done? I've got to have this plan put together, some ideas put together in the next couple of months. And within hours, I get a phone call from Sam, who I think you asked to call me. and said, hey, we're doing a project over here. How'd you like to have an international business plan put together? And so it really was great timing for us because we had to do it, and it was wonderful. So I'll tell you this, our experience with all the different countries that this group came up with and suggested to us, we learned a couple of key things that we probably would have stumbled into and made a lot of mistakes had was it not for your research, and that is that we just assumed that we were going to go international with the same product or the same marketplace that we serve today. And what we found is from both a cultural differences in other countries where they kind of keep mom and dad at home as opposed to in senior living like we do, probably our primary methodology for going international is going to be in the home as opposed to in a larger facility. We also probably learned that although these places don't have large facilities for living as a senior, they do have a pretty decent, not by our standards, but there's a pretty significant hospital presence in any of these developing countries. So maybe our market is through hospitals and homes. So we probably would have taken a while to figure that out, and you guys helped us with that a lot. So thank you very much. And thank you all for putting it together.
Excellent.
Thank you. This is awesome.
And
Wow.
as an instructor, I was very pleased with the results of the project because as a professor, my job is not only to teach students from books, but also how to apply knowledge. So by having Teltron, a real company, and by having my students visiting manufacturing facilities, having Teltron representatives come to our class meetings and tell about company, it was very, very beneficial because students can see in real life how this knowledge from books, what they study during their classes, can be applied in a real life situation. So as instructor, it was very beneficial for my class and for Embry-Riddle.
Excellent, excellent.
Great.
I
Thank
just
you
gotta
so
give them a
much.
hand. Fantastic.
Yeah, did anybody have any questions of anyone out in the audience? Go ahead.
Is there any way this could be used as a template for other industries here in Daytona Beach, with minor adaptations, of course?
Yes, we actually use a business plan, export business plan for small and medium-sized enterprises, which is available at export.gov website. So I have a template. We adapted that plan in order to fit our clients' needs, but this official plans what U.S. government is using for small and medium-sized enterprises.
Can I just expand on that just for a minute, John? This is our intro, because this is a pilot.
And the goal of what Embry-Riddle and Daytona State College has done, their goal is to put together initial write-up so that there is a foundation built for doing more of this with other businesses in the area. And as has been stated, other universities will be getting involved as well. This is a perfect win-win, as you can see, in using our university students, and let's give them a round of applause because they I mean, to me, this is phenomenal, what they have done, what they have demonstrated. And we should thank also our Chamber of Commerce, who actually, through SAM, initially came up with the project. I think Team Volusia is very pleased with what CIBE brings to the table. We're talking about incorporating some of what we do on the educational level. But this is the pilot. They will be writing up information. In fact, we are receiving that information. If you would like to also receive some of that information that they've developed, we'd be happy to share that as well. But it is an example of what can happen and will happen. And we're just so really just floored by what has happened. And I think the fact that these employer representatives are here demonstrates the success of the project and how much they too have appreciated and gained from what these universities have done. And we want to thank them too for coming. And thank you all as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming. I mean, this is just opening doors that I don't think we all knew were even closed.
This is definitely thinking outside the box.
Right,
Absolutely.
definitely. We'd love to have you guys come back, give us an update, a report like in 6 months or, at the end of next semester, see where we are, what other schools are going to be involved, and I bet you're going to have more kids sign up for these classes too. Thank you all so much. Any other questions, comments?
I did have a comment. I want to let you know that this is some of the fruit of our business visitation program. We identified these companies, and so when I was asked who we should select for participation. I knew enough about the companies to select them. So it's a fruit of your labor. So I just want to point that out.
See, it's all our fault. We did it. We can pat ourselves on the back.
The other question I was going to ask is, would you name the educational institutions that are part of the alliance? I guess that's or with your group.
John, yeah, if you can give us a list of the
We have
institutions.
representation from all the institutions of higher ed in Volusia County. So, of course, Daytona State, Embry-Riddle, Stetson, Bethune-Cookman, and the University of Central Florida.
Excellent.
And they are going to try to start a pilot program as well.
We hope to have
The
all
other two
institutions
schools.
on board next fall.
Great.
Absolutely.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much
you.
again. We really appreciate all of you coming. This is the most people we've ever had at our meeting. I'm very excited. Thank you all so much.
Okay.
Carol, well, you have something else, Emery? Go
I
ahead.
was going to make one last question. I know Carol was going to probably get to it, and I was going to say that education as a partner in economic development is an item, is an objective identified in our economic development plan, and has also made it into the visioning plan.
Absolutely part of the vision, and which we're all very much a part of. So this is awesome. Go ahead.
Carol, I just have a quick suggestion that perhaps for our January 12th meeting, if we could squeeze something in about this. I know it's too late to put in the flyer, but I think the folks that would come to our meeting on January the 12th might want to hear about this, the success of this. And
You could take some information. The Economic Development Board is sponsoring this meeting on January the 12th as a communication.
Flyers.
Yes, we have flyers now as a communication. We'd love to have you guys come. We could probably, squeeze you in. I mean, I think this information is so important to the entire community. So if you can come to this, we would love to have you be a small part.
Photo opportunity right after.
And the employees, right. I'm sorry, Emery, what?
Photo opportunity outside right after.
Okay.
We have Mr. Don Gooding who will take
Terrific.
a couple photos.
All right, so don't go away. But we will, do I hear a motion for adjourn?
no, not yet.
No, not yet.
I just
Okay.
wanted to say to the college students, congratulations on all the hard work that you did, and also congratulations on graduating.
Yes, yay,
All of
seniors.
you that will be graduating, that's phenomenal, and good luck. I'm
How
sure.
many of you are staying in town, in
Yeah.
the area? I'm here forever. All right. So, that's great. All right, yes.
Just one last thing. I'm sure this experience that you've learned here will serve you well, because this is an area that our country has to do much, much better in, not only our town, but our country. And I'm sure that there's going to be opportunities for you out there to use this. Yeah. It's great.
Thank you all once again. Any other comments? We're adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
Let's take some pictures right outside in the lobby area. We'll be right there.